Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled Los Angeles Board of Public Works meeting for Monday, August 26, 2019. And we will start with our executive officer.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Roll call for today. We have Commissioner Garcia, Dr. Davis, and also Commissioner Caloza. Dr. Davis, you do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Asad Al-Najjar, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Michael Ruiz, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Shirley Lau, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Al Bazi, Streets LA.
Good morning, Lori Rittenberg, City Attorney.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President Pro Tem, Dr. Davis, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. No speaker cards were received on any of the items for today's regular agenda.
Great. With that, I will ask for a second to my motion to receive the approval of the minutes from Monday, July 29th, 2019, as well as from Wednesday, July 31st, 2019. Seconded by Commissioner Garcia. That will be the order. Commendatory resolutions, introductions, and presentations. We have none.
That is correct.
And so I will begin with item 8. Let's see. Status on compliance relative to NASCO Petroleum LLC, Section 4.7 of Ordinance 184966 within 120 days of order, Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas Administration and Safety. We don't have any presentation, and I think we have continued that item.
That is correct, Mr. President. There's been Mr. Pro Tem President, there's been a request to continue this item for 60 days to Friday, October 25th, 2019, if there is no objections by this board. I believe there is a statement that that our president would like us to read into the record regarding this continuation.
Which I don't have.
If you'd like, I can read that into the record.
Yeah, would you please,
that's okay with you?
Executive Officer, please read.
So the request is to authorize or to receive approval from the Board of Public Works to grant NASCO the requested continuance of 60 days of the NASCO compliance requirements for the abandonment. The city's petroleum administrator has agreed to the continuation as well. It is the request of the city's petroleum administrator that during the 60-day continuation period, the client, which is NASCO, meet with the Office of the State Fire Marshal to review their pipeline abandonment procedures. And if it's okay with this board, we would continue this item for 60 days to Friday, October 25th, 2019.
And that will be the order.
Thank you. And if I could also, President Pro Tem, if we can close out public comments and also the Neighborhood Council commentary section, we would close those sections out as well at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to go to item number 5. Let's see here. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, let me see yours. Stop payment notice, Thomas Partitions and Specialties Incorporated. Thomas Partitions and Specialties Incorporated is transmitting a stop payment notice in the amount of $16,163.20 for furnishing washroom equipment in connection with the asphalt plant number 1 replacement and modernization project. The primary contractor for this project is Papich Construction Incorporated. C-127923, communications number 122396, filed on July 16, 2019.
This is a stop notice item before you, President Pro Tem. We would just need a motion and a second to consider to receive this item forthwith.
Okay, can I receive a second on my motion to receive the stop payment notice by Commissioner Caloza? And that will be the order.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to go to item number 6, another stop payment notice. Stop payment notice, Automated Gate Services Incorporated. Automated Gate Services Incorporated is transmitting a stop payment notice in the amount of $2,240 for furnishing gate automation to Crown Fence Company, the apparent subcontractor, in connection with the North Outfall Sewer Unit 18, Colorado, Brazil, Phase 1 project. The primary contractor for this project is Spinello Companies. C-130-429, communication number 122395, filed on July 16th, 2019. And may I receive a second to my motion to accept item number 6 by Commissioner Garcia? And that will be the order. Next, I am going to go to item number 3. Contract acceptance, fall moth at 83rd Street and sidewalk repair. Recommending that the board, 1, accept this contract. WOE 190 8006. May I receive a second to my motion that we accept item number 3? Seconded by Commissioner Garcia, and that will be the order. Next, we will go.
Any discussion on item number 3? Hearing none. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Item number 4 next will be contract acceptance, Yucca Trail 8357, emergency road repair. Recommending that the board accept this contract. And WOE 1908508. And we have presenting, because we have no public comments on this item, Brett McReynolds.
Thank you, President Dr. Davis and Commissioners and Bureau representatives. Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration. On February 15, 2019, this contract was awarded to Clark Construction using the on-call geotechnical list of contractors. They were the next contractor in line. The project was awarded for $45,950.85 with a contingency and a not-to-exceed budget of $50,000. Funding was through general fund for emergency repairs. This contract repaired Yucca Trail Road, which was a hillside location in CD4, and it also added a small bulkhead. No change orders were issued to this contract, thus the final amount remained at $45,950.85. Contract was issued using emergency on-call lists, thus no specific MBWB levels were met or were established. However, the contractors comply with all EEO and labor compliance requirements. Work was completed on November 5th, 2018, and there are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds, and the project was received well by the neighborhood, so we're requesting acceptance.
Great. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, may I have a second to my motion to accept item number 4 by Commissioner Carloza? And may we have any other issues or concern? None?
Thank you.
With that, there'll be the order. Thank you. Next, we'll have item number 1. Budget increase and change order number 53, Reyes Construction, North Atwater non-motorized multimodal bridge project. Recommending the board, 1, authorize $1,900,000 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $16,245,369 $100 for this project, and 2, authorize the city engineer to issue change order number 53 in the amount of $1,098,567 for this project to compensate for the additional steel weight of the bridge. WOE 750 1F is the file number. And we have presenting, because there are no other public comments, obviously, we have our engineer Shirley Lau presenting on this item.
Thank you. Good morning, Shirley Lau with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Division. Just to give you a brief background on the bridge project, this is a non-motorized bridge for equestrians, pedestrians, and bicyclists to make year-round crossings of the LA River between the communities of Atwater Village in Council District 13 and Griffith Park in Council District 4. It is a steel cable-stayed bridge. It has a mass of approximately 120 feet high. The bridge has two separate paths, one for equestrians and one for pedestrians and bicyclists. In May 2017, the Bureau of Engineering was authorized to carry out the construction of this project through Council File Number 11-1246-S1, where the plans, specs, estimates, and some funding were gifted to the city. So prior to commencing construction, BOE went through vigorous design, review, and checks, including extensive structural and wind tunnel analysis, and it resulted in design modifications and additional details due to the complexity of the bridge. One of the bid items, number 44, structural steel, changed with the addition of these design details for the structure. And therefore, the change order number 53, we're requesting basically to pay for the overage. The original quantity under bid item 44 was 275,000 pounds, as calculated by the original designer. The quantity based on our revised stop drawings identified every size of member of the bridge, and it resulted in 425,994 pounds of steel. The steel weight in the bid was underestimated due to insufficient details on the plans at the time of advertisement, and a federal grant for the project was in jeopardy of being lost if we did not move the project into construction. So this change order is to pay for the difference of 150,994 pounds of steel. The cost does include furnishing, fabrication, installation, and delivery of the steel. Per our general requirements of this project specs, 68,750 pounds of the overage will be paid at the bid unit price of $8 a pound. The remaining quantity of 82,244 pounds will be paid at a negotiated lower unit price of $6.67 a pound. BOE staff, we reviewed, verified, and concurred that the actual steel quantity is correct. This board report also requests approval to increase the contingency amount by $1.9 million, and that includes the steel weight change order number 53. And also for any potential future change orders, we anticipate some changes that might occur as we strive to complete the project by the end of the year. We have some changes on the east and west bridge approachways because there are equestrians, bicyclists, and pedestrians using this bridge, and we want to minimize the length of the shared path that they're using. We also have additional field welding, continuous third-party inspection due to the requirements of the bridge welding code. Other changes that might occur are additional compliance requirements by the regulatory agencies who have jurisdiction over the LA River. They do require that everything that was originally in the river be restored when we're done with the project. There is no fiscal impact to the general fund. Funding is available in the Engineering Special Services Fund number 682. Lastly, I just want to touch briefly on the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise update. This is a partially funded, this project is partially funded by federal funds, and so the DBE program applies. The contractor originally pledged 4.26% DBE and 33.47% OBE. At this time, the contractor is set to meet their goal. The additional steel weight in change order 53 is fabricated by an OBE, so it does not change the DBE. However, the contractor has reiterated their ongoing commitment and consideration of DBEs for any of the future anticipated work to complete this project. The Bureau therefore requests the Board to consider and approve the recommendations set forth in this report. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. I just wanted to ask, in terms of the timing of this project, how are we in terms of achieving our scheduled timing for the project?
Yes, we are on schedule to complete by December of this year,
Okay.
and that's per the schedule.
Okay, great. Any other concerns by commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, we are accept the motion by Commissioner Carloza, and I second her motion to adopt item number 1. And with that, that will be the order.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any issues sending this item forthwith?
Yes.
No issues. Forthwith. Thank you.
Forthwith. The final item that we have in terms of this regularly scheduled items is item number 2, Sewer Service Charge Appeal, 7201 Sonalda Road, recommending the board, 1, deny Mr. Macy's appeal of Bureau of Sanitation and Environment's determination that denied his request for a residential sewer service charge refund to his account. The Bureau of Sanitation's determination was based on the Los Angeles Municipal Code and the California Government Code Section 911.2. And the deposition report adopted forthwith. Alex Vasquez from the Bureau.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Alex. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, President Pro Tem Davis, commissioners, your representatives, City Attorney, Executive Officer. My name is Alex Vasquez with LA SAM. What we have here is an appeal of a sewer service charge adjustment request. The customer wrote to us and explained that they had 2 meters. One is a domestic meter serving the house and another irrigation meter to serve irrigation in the property. This is a very large property, consists of a home with a pool and a pool house and 4 additional lots. So it's all part of one big property. So we sent somebody out there to check to make sure that the meter indeed serves only irrigation. Some of these properties, sometimes they have guest homes and all the different that are connected to the sewer, so we can grant an adjustment. In this case, this was just for irrigation, so we gave them an adjustment for 1 year, which is the maximum that we can give them an adjustment for. And this was done through the Department of Water and Power, so they receive a credit on their bill already in the Department of Water and Power. So when they receive our determination, they appeal that determination. They want to go back to the sign-on date of this meeting, which is 2004. So we scheduled a hearing with Commissioner Cabello, and they had a hearing with Commissioner Cabello, and she heard the claimant's arguments, and she still decided to issue this report on siding with sanitation.
Okay. What was their argument, Mr. Vasquez?
Well, the argument is that we should not charge him for sewer service charge, and they wanted to go back. That was the main argument that they offered during the hearing with the commissioner.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns by commissioners? Hearing and seeing none, can I receive a second to my motion to accept the recommendation of the Bureau, seconded by Commissioner Garcia, and that will be the order. Forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a good
Vasquez. Our final item is the oral report. And we have Ian Monteith from the Bureau of Contract Administration presenting today. Mr. Monteith.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the board, certainly President Pro Tem Dr. Davis, representatives of the bureaus. Again, my name is Ian Monte, representing the Office of Contract Compliance within the Bureau of Contract Administration. And what I am going to do is give you a relatively brief oral report on the update of the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement, affectionately known as the PLA. And so what this report is going to be, it's going to be a comprehensive update of achievements for both the previous and the current PLA. And this information is going to be to date as well as for a quarterly period of May 29th through today. We're going to discuss very briefly some current and upcoming projects, local higher achievements, local wages reinvested, and some quarter milestones. The information that I'm going to be discussing is directly from real-time statistical data from the Bureau's online certified payroll system, where this is information received directly from the contractors and then reported to us through our use of Microsoft Power Business Intelligence software. So this information is available on BCA's website, which is BCA phonetically known as boycharlesadam.lacity.org, and this information is available to the public and it updates every morning at 6:30 a.m. So very briefly, first, currently there are 97 covered projects at approximately total $1.28 billion that have been awarded by this board. Of those, there are 56 active projects totaling just over $1 billion. We have 28 upcoming projects, including 8 that have already been awarded but have not yet begun, that total about $81 million. And then also there are 20 projects that are to be advertised over the next 12 months, totaling $220 million. So with local hire achievements, these are the metrics that are built into the project labor agreement. And I will go through each metric individually as I discuss the achievements with them. This information is based on 14,869 workers that have performed 3,733,466 total hours on these covered projects. So first we have a local resident hire where the goal, and by goal I mean mandate, is at least 30% of the project hours must be performed by a city resident within certain zip code tiers. So in terms of hours, the project labor agreement projects have achieved 38% in terms of the project hours requirement, and that's 1,424 hours. 1,424,855 hours. But what's really interesting and in my opinion very cool is if we look at the number of workers, that is 4,308, which constitutes 29%. So what we have there is 29% of the workers have done 38% of the work. And again, these are local workers. These are Angelinos. Going to the local resident apprentice, the goal, and by goal I mean mandate again, is 50% or half of all the apprentice hours must be performed by a city resident. So when we're looking at the hours achievement, we have 512,114 local apprentice hours of a total of 829,389 hours, which constitutes 62% of the apprentice hours are being performed by a local resident. But again, what's really cool is we have 3,770 total apprentices and 1,699 local apprentices, which constitutes 45%. So you have 45% of the apprentices performing 62% of the work. Again, these are local workers. Finally, the categories of disadvantage, now known as transitional workers, the PLA goal is at least 10% of all the project hours must be performed by city residents with various barriers to employment. The goal again is 10%, and with this, the PLA projects have achieved 19% hours, otherwise known as 721,946 hours. A lot of numbers here, so forgive me if I get a little tongue-tied with them. But again, what's really cool is the number of workers. This says 940 workers that constitute the transitional / disadvantage criteria. They amount to 6% of the total workforce. So again, 6% have performed 19% of these hours. Again, that's a great achievement. All of these workers collectively have resulted in the local wages being reinvested back into the city of $49 million or $49.35 million, which includes $36.82 million of journey level wages and $12.53 million of apprentice wages. So now I want to talk about the current quarter that concludes today. And this quarter is going from May 29th of this year to, again, today, August 26th. So these numbers that I'm going to give, and I'm going to go through these very fast, are based on 1,286 workers that have performed work on the project, on covered projects, including 257 apprentices. And they have collectively performed 109,397 total hours. So very quickly, we have 357 local workers, otherwise representing 28%, that have performed 41,299 hours, or 38% of the work. So again, 28% of the people performing 38% of the work. With local apprentice, we have 124 local apprentices, otherwise 48% of the apprentices that have performed 15,162 hours, otherwise known as 62% of the total apprentice hours. So again, 48% of the people performing 62% of the work. And then finally, with the disadvantaged slash transitional, we have 82 disadvantaged slash transitional workers, otherwise known as 6% headcount based, that have performed 15,084 hours, otherwise 14% of the hours. So again, 6% of the workers perform 14% of the hours. All of these collective workers over this 3-month period have resulted in $1.55 million being reinvested back into the city, including $1.15 million of journey level wages and $392,760 in apprentice wages. Now, while this next bit of data before I conclude is not necessarily a part of our project labor agreement, we wanted to share this as well. So I wanted first to talk about female hiring because that has been a topic of discussion previously on the board. So to date, all covered project labor agreement projects have resulted in 39,945 hours being performed by 204 females on the project, which results in 1% on both hours and workers in terms of 1% of the total. For the quarter, we have 971 hours being performed by 8 female workers, which again represents 1% of both the hours and the total. And then finally, I want to talk about graduates from apprentice to journey level. So during this particular quarter, we had one apprentice graduate to journey level on a PLA project, which was the North Central Animal Services Center Phase 2. And this apprentice was a drywall finisher who is then graduated to journey level. However, this particular individual is in Fontana, so they're not a city resident. But that opened up some different additional information. If we look at all public works projects over this same time frame, there's actually a total of 4 graduates. They're all male, but I wanted to share this because there is a bit of a nexus to the city of LA. So the first project was the protected bike lane. Again, these are non-project labor agreement covered projects, so I don't want any confusion there. But for the protected bike lane dash Main Street Vision Zero Phase 2A, we had a transportation systems electrician graduate who is a city resident. We also have on the 6th Street Bridge, we had a bridge carpenter graduate to journey level who is a city tier 1 resident as it relates to the zip codes within the project labor agreement. And then finally, we had a laborer graduate from apprentice to journey level on one of our emergency sewer projects who is a Downey resident. So with that being said, I certainly welcome your questions.
Sure. I want to thank you for your report, and I have some comments, observations, and a concern. As I look at your dashboard and I see on page 2, I think it is, the various goals and the performances that we've been able to implement in terms of our work over this quarter, the Bureau is to be commended in the fact that we were able to succeed in accomplishing our goals and surpassing them in each of the areas that we have been targeting, from local hire, apprentice hours, and the disadvantaged transit hours as well. Now, my concern is a couple of things. I would love to see us be a little more aggressive as it relates to transitional workers, given the employment population in a dynamic city like Los Angeles. And the second thing is that I had the opportunity to refer an individual who called our office to seek employment opportunities, and the length of time that it took, because I monitor it to see what would happen, the length of time that it took was concerning to me. And I know that perhaps this might not be the way in which every circumstance happens, but to the degree, I don't know the process in terms of what we normally do, but I certainly tracked this one. And I would like to see us be able to respond to people more expeditiously than did in this case. And certainly, I have spoken to Mr. Rima in terms of his effort as well. in terms of what he does with workforce on it. But I think that this is a great opportunity for us to really make a big dent in employment opportunities in this city. And of all of what we have done, I think you are to be commended, but I would love to see us do a little bit more as it relates to transitional workers in terms of what our goals are and our outreach, and more importantly, to really monitor that process and that system to see how long, because people who are in this category already are at a terrible disadvantage. And to the degree that we could help expedite the service we're providing, I think would be helpful.
Thank you.
Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Well, one, I just wanted to say, thanks to Con Ed for all your work on the project labor agreements. I really appreciate this report every quarter because I think it really highlights all the efforts to hire locally and just, I know it takes a huge amount of time to really, enforce the PLA and all these projects. And I think just a second note, I do appreciate that Con Ed has met the target metrics that you guys have for these 4 different categories that you stated. And then just a third one, just a question, and it's okay if you don't have the answer right now, but I'm just curious if there is a positive or a negative trend at all for the gender equity numbers that you stated, and you beat me to the punch because you knew I was going to ask you that anyway.
Well, when the question was posed to us during the last quarterly report, again, while it's not a part of the official metrics, there's no reason that, because we have the data, there's no reason we can't bring it here and discuss it. And so certainly I wanted to make sure that we were proactive rather than being reactive in that regard. The trend, unfortunately, has stayed consistent with 1%. It was 1%. I actually looked at the numbers this morning just to compare, and it was 1% during the last quarterly meeting, and it's 1% now. Certainly, we can do a lot more collectively with going out and certainly educating our contractors and the jobs coordinators as it relates to the project labor agreement cover projects of avenues and opportunities that can be presented to female workers. I actually went about 6 weeks ago, maybe 7. I went to a graduation for winter, which is the Women in Non-Traditional Employment Roles, and they have a construction pre-apprenticeship program, again, all females, and they graduated 10 ladies that were going to be going out into the workforce into various construction projects, although I feel like half are going to at least get an opportunity to work on the 6th Street Bridge. What actually was very interesting was one of the ladies that was there was a lady well in her 50s who used to work with my mother doing hair. And I saw her and she spoke and I was like, whoa, okay. And it was a great sight to see because this is someone that, is defying all of, I don't want to say the odds or the trends, but typically people, over the age of 50 aren't necessarily hitting reset on careers. And this is something that she was doing, but she was very successful in this. And the reason that I bring this up is, one, I hope that I were able to get her, not me personally, but I hope she would be able to get onto a PLA cover project because I would love to bring her in here and actually showcase her during one of these future quarterly reports. But more so than that, just to show that there are opportunities that are out there, and I think that it's important that we all work together and we help steer people to where folks are that are being trained, that are being, that are going to be available to work on these projects, so we can ultimately get these percentages up, from 1% to 2 to 3 to 5 to whatever the number we would like to see. So those are the things, or some of the things that we can certainly do, and we're going to continue to do, because I would love to see that this number at least get to 2%, and then we can talk about, future percents and increases after that.
Thank you for that update, and maybe we can schedule a meeting in the coming weeks. I would be interested in helping Con Ed redouble their efforts for hiring for females in these non-traditional roles.
We would love that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Yes, you have. Thank you.